Yeah, I did.
After the race?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's right.
Yeah, I took your photo. You gave me the thumbs up.
And then after that, I went to the medical center.
Wait, did you?
Yeah.
It was a hot day.
I think we were on pit wall. I think I was sitting down
man,
or something.
You look bad.
And I got up.
I thought I'd give you some time, but I'm like...
No, you're fine. And I got up and I felt like I was about to pass out, so I went to the medical center. Only time I've ever been to the medical center.
Really?
But there were a couple other drivers there.
Give you fluids? Or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They gave me fluids and checked for carbon monoxide poisoning, and we were all good.
Wow, crazy. Unreal.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's just jump right into it. Yeah, you're here in New Hampshire. It's past halfway point of the season. Pretty big question to start, but how would you kind of see how the team is performing so far this year? How would you process how everything's been going?
We're improving a lot, and brand new team. So you got struggles. It's just like starting a business. You have struggles with employees. You have struggles with everything. So I think now that we're past the halfway point, we've had the same employees for a while now, for months.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all starting to gel together. And we had a streak of a couple bad races where we had mechanical issues, and we took care of those, and we had a 28th place finish last week. So it wasn't a great finish, but it was definitely a big step up from where we've been.
Mm-hmm.
And now this weekend I'm in a composite car, so first time I'll be in a composite car, and I'm excited. This track is going to make a big difference.
How's that body different? I get what kind of body were you using before?
So I was using a steel body car, which weighs about 175 pounds heavier,
Mm-hmm.
and we can't run the under tray underneath the motor, which generates a lot of downforce. So at a 1.5 mile track, the big disadvantage, because the composite body kind of flexes moves around a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
and that under tray and the weight, you're at a big disadvantage when you don't have that. So this is my first time, and I'll be running that car for most of the season now. So
that's what everyone's been running, the composites, right?
yeah, there's a few cars that were running steel. It was me, the 55 earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
Every now and then Chad Fincham and Spencer Boyd, and then Josh Williams in the 90 car. But other than that, and Timmy Hill. But other than that, every other car's composite. So it's gonna be nice to be on an equal playing field now.
Mm-hmm. And you said the team has kind of stayed the same for most of the season. Were there any, smaller changes, I guess, overall, or has it been kind of the same group of guys from start to now?
At the beginning of the year, we had almost a completely different group of guys.
Really?
And we just kind of shuffled them out, see who gels. They're all hard workers, but some people don't work well with others.
Mm-hmm.
We've like I said, we've had my crew chief Terry and a case for a couple weeks now, but Terry's been on board since Texas, the fifth race. So it's nice to have familiar faces every time, because last year, when I jumped from team to team, you work with a different crew chief, you work with different crews, and it's hard to gel with them. So it's nice to have the same group of guys, because you know what to expect. Oh, you're fine.
Are you gonna leave? I'm gonna
yes,
be on the phone. I just need to text.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, you mentioned last year and how you were moving around pretty much your whole career. I kind of saw you just going from team to team, series to series, but now you've been in a stable place. I mean, what does that do to a driver? Just having that stable home for a season.
It helps going back to the track, knowing it's the same group of guys, knowing it's the same car you ran, last week. Like you said, last year, I did go from a couple different teams, and it's hard to adjust to, different chassis, different car. So it's definitely been nice, showing up to the track, not having to worry about, am I going to fit in this seat? Because last year, you'd come to the track not knowing if you're going to fit in the seat. Well, this year, it's nice. So definitely helps me mentally going forward.
Now, you guys missed the first 2 races of the season. Did that really set the team back a little bit? I don't know if you were expecting to miss any races this year, or perhaps a couple, but you missed the first 2, which kind of gave you a delayed start for the year. Was that kind of how it worked out, you'd say?
I mean, it did, but we put this deal together with my 45 car very last minute, 2 weeks up until Daytona. So we had very short notice. So we knew Daytona was going to be close, and not making Daytona hurt us for Atlanta. But we made the best of the situation. We moved forward, and we've made every race since. We've had some pretty good finishes too. So I wouldn't say it set us back. It's a little disappointing, but at the same time, my sponsor Prevagen, they were understanding, knowing it's a brand new team, and we didn't have any points from last year. The 55 car had some points from last year. The 45 had none. So it's tough to show up when you have 47 cars and try to qualify your way in a Daytona. And I had never been there before, so we put that past us. We move forward.
Has the finishes been indicative of the car's speed or your personal performance?
Yes and no. There's times when the car does have speed, and we had a mechanical issue at Iowa. We probably would have had a decent finish there. But other than that, we have had some good finishes. Top 25, top 30 finishes these past couple of weeks, and now with this composite body, I think that we're gonna have we're going to be fighting for top 25s more often, hopefully top
Right.
20.
Did you expect more, at least at the halfway point when you mentioned there's been good performance gains this first half? Did you expect more at this point here?
No, I think we're making a lot happen with a little,
Mhm.
and a lot of teams say that, but we really are. I mean, with limited resources we have and everything else, I think we are making a lot happen with a little, and I'm happy with our team's performance this year.
A lot with a little. You handling social media. Apparently that's
Yeah.
what you texted me. So
Yeah, Ned and myself, we both handle JP Motorsports.
I mean, what's it like? You're not just a driver.
Social media is a big aspect of being a driver. Not just social media though. You got meet and greets, which I actually have one tonight at a GNC store. As a driver, you have to be very versatile and be able to work social media, be good in front of the cameras, the crowd, and everything. So it's sometimes it gets a little overwhelming, but you deal with it and you keep going.
And not all young drivers have to do that. A lot of them come up, whether they just have money behind them or they came up winning, so they got to a big team, and big teams don't really need them for those small little things.
Yeah.
But you're building this team not only from driving, but helping with everything else from the background. So how does that really build not just your confidence, but your background? You get to prove yourself that you can do a lot with a little.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even as far as finding known sponsors, we work on finding our own sponsors, myself and, the team owners, from social media to managing everything else. I think it goes back to what I said, makes me a lot more versatile, and I think it's going to help me in the future going forward, once we start competing for, the top 15, top 10s. I think at that point we're going to look back and everything we're doing now, it's going to be a lot easier to do then.
Yeah. What would you classify as a small team? I guess people's definitions are different. I've had a few guys, because I handle underdog column, and some guys say, "Oh, he's an underdog team." I
Yeah.
don't think so. So what would you classify as an
I
underdog?
think the cutoff line would be, JD Motorsports,
Mhm.
but you look at them as a whole and they're huge. They have 4 cars.
Yeah.
Legitimate small teams, I think a cutoff line would be, Spencer Boyd's team
Mhm.
down. You do have some small teams, Kaz Gralla, but he does have support from Ford.
Yeah.
We don't have much support from anyone.
Mhm.
So that's a touchy subject, and I do see people, go back and forth. I also think of, Jeremy Clements, Ryan Sieg, Alex Labby. I consider them small teams, but they're a tier up from where I'm at
Yeah.
right now.
So different levels of a small team.
Yeah, I think
because they're hitting top 10s.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're doing great,
Yeah.
and they're making a lot happen with little. Their little might be completely different to our little right now,
Mhm.
and that's why they're able to compete for top 10s. But you look at what they're doing with what they have versus Joe Gibbs or anyone else. They're doing a great job. So I think there are different stages to little teams. I think we're the little teams, and I think
Yeah.
you got the little teams, and you got the the big dogs.
It's a lot of small teams in Xfinity, a lot more than Cup, I would say. Is there kind of a mutual respect when it comes throughout the garage? A lot of you guys are going through the same similar struggles. Do you feel a level of respect in Xfinity garage?
Yeah, I definitely do. There are Cup drivers who obviously race with us,
Yeah.
and it's a touchy subject. Sometimes people say they don't like them there. I like them there. And I think when they come, I learn a lot. But I think there's a lot of respect in the Xfinity garage for other drivers. I mean, I think Christopher Bell is probably one of the best drivers in the series, and I respect him. He goes through 3 or 4 races a week sometimes, and he races and he competes. So there's a lot of respect in the Xfinity garage.
Is it different from the Cup garage? I mean, you got to taste that last.
I think so.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, there are some pretty deep battles in both, but I feel like in the Cup garage they have been battling longer. You look at guys like Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano. Not a lot of them like each other.
Mm-hmm.
And in Xfinity, you don't have that because drivers come and they go a lot quicker than they do in Cup. In Cup, they stay. So I think that the respect is a little bit greater in Xfinity.
Mm-hmm.
But once the drivers move up to Cup, it might be a little bit of a different story.
Yeah. Do you see yourself as a long Xfinity driver, like someone like a Clements or people like that who spend? I mean, you spend a very long time here, but there's some small guys who they really make their living off Xfinity. Do you foresee that becoming your future? Obviously, you like to move up, but doesn't always happen.
Yeah, I'd like to be in Xfinity for 3 or 4 years, just to learn. That's the main thing. You want to step up the program next year and run more competitive. This year we're battling for top 25s. Next year it'd be nice to battle for top 20, top 15s, and so on. But my eventual goal is definitely Cup.
Mm-hmm.
I want to race Cup full time, and that's where I want to be.
Yeah. Do you think you can make a living off Xfinity Series, even if you're not with a big team?
I think you can. There's ways. You look at a guy like David Starr, who's made a living racing Cup
Right.
Series, Xfinity, trucks, and he's an older gentleman. There definitely are ways. You just need to work hard for
Mhm.
that.
And speaking of Cup, this is where you made your last start last year. You said you were really exhausted after the race. I mean, just racing in the Cup Series. You did Sonoma as well. I mean, that was pretty incredible. And for a young driver to do that before a full-time Xfinity season, that's a pretty cool opportunity.
It was very cool. Rick Ware gave me that opportunity, and it was a little bit of a last-minute deal. We didn't have a big budget, so we only ran about 15 laps of practice. And like I said, it was my first time here, and this is a tricky track. It's flat. You use a lot of brakes, and it was a good week. My main goal was to bring the car home clean, and we did. And we had a decent race with some of the guys, some of the back markers in the Cup Series, and it was fun, and I learned a lot, and I think I can apply a lot of what I learned last year, this year in Xfinity car.
Yeah, running an oval, people were surprised you ran New Hampshire. I think it was Sonoma, then Watkins Glen was kind of early on, but you ended up running an oval. So did that really test? You said you're a versatile person, but a versatile driver as well when it comes to getting on these ovals.
Yeah, because obviously my background is road course racing, and my first oval was actually with Leica Racing in 2016 at Phoenix. And other than that, I had very, very limited time on an oval, and the oval I did have time on is a quarter mile. I had about 3 races a couple of years ago. So being a versatile driver definitely helps all around. There's things I learned from racing here that I can apply on a road course, and there's things that you can learn on a road course and apply them on ovals. I think the biggest challenge for me so far has been mile and a halves and super speedways. Learning how to pack race and learning how the aerodynamics affect the car, and the right side of the car is an important subject. Is very sensitive, but I think being a versatile driver helps, when you go to oval or when you go to road course.
Yeah. How much do you prepare? Like, we got Mid-Ohio and Road America, Watkins Glen coming up. How much do you really prepare for those type of races? The big opportunities for you.
Yeah, I think that's Mid-Ohio and Road America, I think we can shoot for a top 10, maybe even a win. Last year we finished 12th with used tires. We were running on used tires already. So this year we have a tire budget, tire sponsor, and I haven't prepared much for them. I would really like to use a Toyota simulator, a big simulator, rather than just iRacing. I have so many laps at Mid-Ohio and Road America. I don't need to prepare as much as I do coming to a track like this, where I've only been here once, or Kentucky, where I've never been. I prepare for the ovals more than I do the road courses, but once the road courses, once we get to them, a week before, I'll spend all my time on iRacing preparing for them. But there's little things. It's like riding a bike. You can pick up on and you never forget. That's little things like that around Road America that I'll do 2 laps and it'll click right away. So.
Is it easy to sell sponsors for a road course race? Because you're able to tell them that, hey, we're not going to be running in the back. We could actually be very competitive in this race.
Yeah, it certainly is, and especially Road America. That's my home race. I still live in Wisconsin, so last year we had a lot of local sponsors come on board, and this year we have a lot of local sponsors coming on board too. So I think it's a little bit easier for that.
Yeah,
it's still hard.
Yeah, I bet. And yeah, as I said, one year since your last Cup race. How much longer is that going to be your last Cup race?
It's tough, this year I'm putting my primary focus on our program here at JP. I really would have liked to run Sonoma and Watkins Glen, but if I had any additional sponsorship, I would have kicked it towards our team. I let teams know all the time, if you need a driver, I'm at the track, I'm here for the road courses, especially the Charlotte Roval. You see a lot of drivers having struggles there, and I think that's a track I would do really well at, because I've ran Rovals similar to that before.
Right.
So I'd like to make a Cup start this year yet, but I'm not going to work too hard on that. I'm going to keep my primary focus, the JP Motorsports, and we'll see what happens. A lot of things happen last minute.
Yeah. So when you watch the footage from the Roval race and a lot of guys have been having issues, are you like, oh, I can handle that? Have you ever seen that? Have you ever run laps around there, I guess?
I haven't, actually, other than on iRacing. I think it's going to be tricky.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be able to handle it and pick it up quicker than most, kind of like Adrian Allmendinger said he did, because he comes from road course background. We have a test day prior to the practice day in Xfinity Series, so it'll be nice to run that and just get a couple laps. But I think that maintaining your position in the race and trying not to get knocked out is the most important thing. Cause I think it's going to be a crazy chaotic race.
Were you excited when you saw it added?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people want more road courses, so I'm sure you're on that team.
Yeah, there's a whole list of road courses you could add, but I think that's really cool that Charlotte's doing something completely different. you see your fans say, they don't like it, but I think a majority of them are going to like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely appreciate your time. Yeah,
No,
good conversation.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No worries, man.